Hey, what's up gamers? So I made a video talking about movie posters not too long ago that I was really surprised anybody actually watched, but this time we're going to be talking about something even more unimportant, box art. It's mostly because box art doesn't really matter anymore. Like now that 9 billion% of game sales are just like digital anyway, covers literally couldn't be less important. And yeah, like Steam kinda has art that comes up when you buy stuff, but I mean all of these have about as much effort put into them as a Netflix original. Boring box art sells, that's literally just how it is. But that doesn't mean I still can't complain about it for 10 minutes. So today, because I am contractually obligated to talk about video games, we're going to be looking at video game box art. And speaking of contractual obligations, this video is brought to you by Opera GX, a browser for gamers, and one that has so many features that I have to tell you about in only 60 seconds, so here we go. If your honeypop speedrun isn't quite coming together because you won't close any of your 15 Markiplier videos, then you can use GX Control to keep everything running smoothly by letting you limit the CPU and RAM, and not that I have any idea how any of that works, but you bet you can do it. There's the GX Game Corner, which keeps you up to date with the best deals, news, free and upcoming games in case you really needed to know when Mr. Furry Hot Muscles comes out. The sidebar lets you log into basically any of your accounts so you can get notified straight away when your Discord kitten comes online. And of course there's the mods that you can download from the GX store that let you change browser sounds, cheese, background music, wallpapers, and more. They do have official mods too, but you could also just download the me one in case you ever wanted to have me silently judging everything you're looking up. Literally, what are you even waiting for aside from finishing this video? Make sure you go to operagx.gg/diamondbolt2 or click the link in the description to download it right now for free. You are literally a minute away from seeing my face every time you open your browser. What more could you want? And if you're worried about losing your 14 open has-been Hotel X Reader fanfics, then don't worry, because Opera's got a quick import tool that brings over all of your extensions and bookmarks instantly. That's operagx.gg/diamondbolt2 to get it right now. Thanks to Opera GX for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to bullying artists, I guess. Video game box art started in pretty much the same place that movie posters did, where every single game had to have like the most extravagant Michelangelo tier church mural on the box for a game that probably looks like this. And that's because not only did they have to look like something that you'd actually want to spend your money on, but then also kind of explain to you what the fuck you were actually looking at. So like if you look at any old Atari game, that shit is basically just false advertising. Because like nobody wants to be as honest as the box art for Hungry Horace, okay? Even though I don't think I've ever wanted to play a game more in my entire life. And I love looking at the way like artists interpreted these games back in the day. Like I love middle-aged Bomberman or this nerd emoji ass looking Pac-Man, but I'm literally required to bring up the old Mega Man box art because literally what the fuck is this? The later games in the series did like a much better job of looking like something you'd actually want to spend $60 on, even if you kind of like gradually descended into a gremlin. But you know what? I'll give Crack Addict Mega Man some credit. At least it's memorable, okay? Like I know it must be so hard to represent like a whole 60-hour game into a single image that also has to share a room with the PS3 logo and a testimonial from a completely unbiased source. So like it's not a mystery as to why so many of these are so goddamn boring. It's funny seeing how even though they started in the same place, movie posters and box art have kind of like taken it too far in the opposite direction. Like where a lot of modern posters just kind of like cram on as much shit as they possibly can, video game covers aim to be as barren as humanly possible. Like Doom's box art compared to the original makes me think it's great the game takes place in hell because that's where everyone who made this belongs. The fact that the cover art for God of War Ragnarok is exactly the same as the first one is way too funny to be mad about. Like they didn't even try. That's just all of Sony's first party games though. It's like, screw it, if it worked the first time. And I just love how blatantly obvious it is that everyone is just plagiarizing each other. Like how do they even get away with it being this obvious? Like if it's a game about racing, then you're probably going to be seeing some cars, unless you're Project Cars. If it's a shooter, then it's going to be some dude standing there with a gun either facing toward or away from the camera in a pose that no human being would ever do. Like Uncharted 4 is like, what is Nate even looking at? Like this shit is so boring. He literally fell asleep on the box art. Like I was looking through all my PS4 games and it's all like 1 man with gun, 2 man with gun, man with gun, and big robot. Where the fuck do I own 2 copies of Knack? What the fuck? And like, yeah, obviously I'm cherry picking. Like they're not all bad, okay? Like Jedi Fallen Order at least tries to look like a movie poster, which is a lot cooler than like, I don't know, Russell Grant astrology. And Until Dawns is at least something different. I think. I can't really tell with all the stickers on it, but like most of them seem more focused on just copying each other's homework instead of standing out. And I can't even say I blame them when even like Pet's Monkey Madness comes in swinging with the T-posing monkey, and it's still only the second coolest poster with a monkey in it. They can be simple, okay? Simplicity is not the problem. Look at Borderlands, alright? That shit rocks. But like Just Cause 4 is just like Rico staring at a tornado and looking less interested than the guy on the cover for RBI Baseball. The one that people always bring up is the cover for BioShock Infinite, which just entirely fails to tell you anything about the game because it's dedicated its entire cover to showing you a guy who you don't even see in the actual game because it's in first person. Not that that matters because it still ended up selling a shit ton anyway because there's a gun on the cover, but people complained so much that they ended up just like putting a bunch of other way better covers that you could print on their site, just being like, fucking do it yourself, we don't care. Something I do find really interesting is the way that they like change game covers to cater to markets in different countries. Like, it is genuinely amazing that it is someone's job in America to be like, damn, this shit is too good, we gotta make it worse. Like the American Silent Hill box art that looks like a rendering error. Sonic covers are all pretty basic and samey nowadays. Like the Sonic Unleashed box art gives me Morbius vibes. Not a compliment. But for like the first few games in the US, they came up with their own Sonic design that looks like a YouTube commentary avatar. Just like how for some reason no one will buy Kirby in America unless he's having a really bad day. Like, I understand the thought process of wanting to put a constipated kid on the cover of Eco because Americans definitely aren't smart enough to figure out what this game is meant to be about. It's just that America likes to have their box art a lot more simple than Japan's, which means that a lot of the time we miss out on like this beautiful hand-drawn artwork so someone can replace it with a PNG of a castle. And it goes both ways too. Like, everyone always acts like Japan always does it better, but nah, they have some pretty shit ones too. Mostly because of their need to do horrible things to Crash Bandicoot. Remember when I was complaining about there being too many faces as movie posters? Holy shit, games have it so much worse. I am so tired of staring at paws. The Super Buster Move one is great though. I need everyone to stop pretending this doesn't go hard as fuck, okay? And at least these have actual pictures, okay? Because we can get even lazier with just text on a white background. Like the Resident Evil remake cover that to me says, oh shit, we forgot to make box art, and the game comes out in 5 minutes. I legit think I spend more time on thumbnails than the dude who made the Wii box art for Okami and left the fucking IGN logo on it. It always makes me laugh how the guy who did the Race with Ryan box art just like slapped a fucking PNG of him in the bottom right corner doing his YouTube thumbnail hostage face. And like, look at FIFA or just any sports game that just recycles the same exact thing every single year, which is incredibly honest of them, actually. If you ever want to find the least amount of effort, though, look no further than compilation games, where they give it maybe like 5 minutes in PowerPoint and call it a day. Of course, how could we not bring up the iconic Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow cover? Sure, just chuck a picture of the box on the box. Who gives a fuck anymore? But like, when you have a look at some of the best ones, okay, they're vibrant and dynamic, and they're like a snapshot of what you're going to be spending the next 60 hours of your life doing. Like, Secret of Mana's box art makes you feel like you're going to go on an adventure. Or a tree, depending on how fun you are at parties. Kingdom Hearts' box art made a big impression on me at Blockbuster. Like, it's so somber and nice to look at. And then I saw fucking Donald Duck, and that sold me on the game even more. And I think better than anyone, Nintendo is like the only one that's remembered that games are meant to actually look fun. Even their most boring ones like Breath of the Wild are still super pretty, even if it's just like a guy standing there. And the way it like lines up with the Tears of the Kingdom box art is like, mwah. Any games that do this, by the way, are automatically the best. Like, I don't make the rules. But like, look how vibrant and colorful the box art is for like most of their first party games like Splatoon or Punch-Out. Mario Odyssey is like a bunch of postcards and shit because it's a game about traveling the world. Like, that's kind of cute. It's no Phil Taylor power play darts, but I mean, what is, honestly? Even Mario Tennis Aces had more thought put into it than like 90% of the Sony games I own because it falls into my favorite genre of box art, which is extremely pissed off Mario. Everyone on the Mario 64 DS cover is having a great time, and Mario's just like planning how to hide their bodies. And yeah, not all of them are winners. Like, Wii Sports is boring ass cover art, which is just 5 screenshots with a third of it taken up by a warning telling you not to be a dumbass. Like, how do you put in less effort than Reality Fighters? That's the thing though, like maybe that's why art is so simple nowadays, because they have to make room for all this extra shit. Because like, why else would you buy a game unless you plaster so many review scores on it you can't even tell what the game is meant to be anymore? And only in video games you're gonna see them taking up box art space by promoting a fucking obituary. I've always loved that each game console kind of had their own color scheme with the logos and the boxes. Like, say what you want about the Wii U, which no one has for like 10 years, but god, that blue is like such a vibe, dude. The theming on the boxes made games like Mario 64 and the one where Mickey Mouse looks like he just spotted some cyclists feel like they're a part of the same world. Like, I love that. And then all of that for them to just end up in game stores where they end up covering them with even more shit. Like, I can barely even see the art for Scribblenauts because I have a constant reminder of how much my parents didn't love me. I just love that there's never been any effort put into anything on the back of the box. Like, look at Sonic Rush, dude. Put it in the fucking middle. Look at all of this room. Anyway, to wrap up the point of this video, I'm just saying, whoever came up with the phrase "don't judge a book by its cover" obviously hadn't seen Cheggers Party Quiz. Legit don't feel comfortable saying Cheggers. It just sounds like a slur. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when we talk about book covers and go on about hot shirtless men for 20 minutes. I'll see you guys all then.